because it's a business meeting. Anybody who, I know that we have one person because of the appeals. Is anybody else, who's here for the appeal hearings tonight? There's just one? Okay, and you're the, and that's, okay. You're Mr. Raposa? Okay. And, oh, another thing. We have 12, 13, well, I can't count, I just see, it's full. I've never seen, in my 3 years, I have never, ever seen that. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to give you a hand. And who's on your liaison? Is it you? Okay. We'll call the meeting to order. If we could stand for a moment of silence for our fallen heroes, and then we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. First item on the agenda is to approve the minutes of Wednesday, January 16th, 2019. I just have one correction that I saw late, and I apologize for that. On the third page, near the bottom, where it says President Metcalf, replied they would be changed, but only when they're due to be painted. That was not correct. That's the third page. It has, I'm with Anita Flynn. You didn't do a separate one for me.
Anita Flynn.
Okay. Come down to the third.
Letting Metcalf provide that they
Yeah.
can be changed when they are due to be painted, or the stationery would be changed when we run out of the current supply.
Right. It would be that they would be changed when we have the colors of the new sign, and then the stationery would be changed when we run out of current supplies. Somebody had asked at the last meeting that it would be a cost for changing the.
I recall the conversation.
Yeah.
And we said we were not going to replace everything on the shelf with the new colors. We would wait until the blue, if it changes, the blue would run out, and we would reorder in the new color scheme.
Okay. Maybe that's what I said?
I believe so.
I didn't want to say that. I didn't want to say that. Maybe I was saying that.
I think that's what you wanted to say.
Okay. All right, thank you. Okay. Are there any corrections or omissions, additions? Then the minutes are approved as written. Thank you. We have correspondence, letter requesting changes to the Clubhouse Bulletin Board procedures. Linda?
BCPO Standard Operating Procedure for SOP 5.1 Bulletin Boards, dated September 23rd, 2016.
Excuse me, Linda. Oh, where's the letter first? Hello, my name is. There you go.
Hello, my name is Janet McClanahan, Unit 1. I have a request to make of BCPO concerning the bulletin board in the main hall. I ask that the board be divided to make a space titled Services and a space titled For Sale. I don't know if you have ever looked for someone to perform a certain task for you, like weeding, cleaning gutters, dog sitting, rides to the airport, or sewing, as I do, etc. But it is very confusing and time-consuming looking through all the for sale items posted to find a particular need. I further ask that our ads for those services be left on the bulletin board and not removed every month, as is the rule. Those of us offering these services are busy performing these jobs for our neighbors and find it difficult to constantly remember to have our ads updated each and every month. We are residents of Brookridge living in the community, offering these services for all our neighbors. I sincerely hope you will give this issue your consideration. Thank you, Janet McClanahan.
Now, normally we have a motion that goes along with these, but what we did do is we had checked the boards. We checked the rules and regulations, and we checked our SOPs, the standard operating procedures. One thing that we did do, Vince did separate the three into for sale, miscellaneous for rentals, and then for services. What we did see is that the rules do not state that specifically for services, but the standard operating procedure, which is 5.1 bulletin boards, does say that the section is for use by Brookridge residents only who wish to advertise miscellaneous items for sale or services for hire to other residents in the community. So in that respect, we can do that. No commercial outside service ads are acceptable for this board. Cards must be posted to a 3x5 index card only. No other size is acceptable. The card must be approved, stamped with BCPO, dated and initialed by the staff. If a member wishes to attach a photograph to the card, it must be the same size and be attached to the back of the card. The member's address is not allowed on the card, only the phone number. Now, our rules and regulations do say that they're for 30 days, and there's a reason for that. She had two requests, separating them and to let those that offer services keep them up there. The reason that we do not do that is because we want to keep the boards fresh. We also don't want people to just leave their cards up there and maybe they're not doing it anymore and they just leave them up there. It is not for us to monitor that. The only thing for us to monitor is that they have to come in 30 days. Personally, I would have a problem with allowing people to just keep them up. If you're giving services to the community, that's great. Come up every month and renew it. It's not a big deal. You're doing a service, you're getting paid for it. So that is just my opinions. And the other thing is, when we looked at the bulletin board, here anyway, there are some regular businesses. I know there's a cruise ship line that is advertising. That's going to come down. So what the board is going to ask of Mr. Giroux, if you could have that guy over there, that's Mr. Giroux. He tries to hide. He hates it when I say his name, but we like him, so we want to make sure that you know who he is. If it's up to the, if it's amenable to the board, I'd like to direct have Ray direct Vince and Trona. Vince is our clubhouse manager, and Trona is our activities director. So they work in close contact with each other. And we'd like them to review the bulletin boards, make sure the rules and the SOPs are being followed. The residents who have services should be notified to have their services on the 3x5 cards, because we have a lot of people that are putting business cards up there. That is not allowable to the rules, so we need to clean that up. And anybody who has a business, then that shit can't be up there, and they should just give them a courtesy call to let them know that it's going to come down. Do I have any discussion from the board yet? Okay. And the thing is that this is one of those things, it doesn't sound like a big deal, but we have rules and we have operating procedures for a reason, and that's to make sure that everybody is doing the best that they can. And this is a good reminder for the board and for all the employees that have to work with the rules to just check up on them and make sure that they're all being followed. And if there's a reason why they shouldn't be followed, then we need to change them so to come up to date. Is the board in agreement with that, or do we have anything else to say? Okay. Ron, are you good with that too? Oh, okay. All right. So I'll give you a little bit more. Okay, you got it off. He's got it off. Cool beans. I told you he was good. You can even follow me. Okay. And Linda, what you might want to do, because Mrs. McClanahan had sent a letter, you might want to just follow up with her also, a personal note. Okay. Next, we have the general manager's report.
Thank you.
That's right.
A big thank you to the Friday Bingo Group that contributed $3,000 towards the new kitchen stove and $3,000 towards the 32 new clubhouse tables. The annual package was mailed without the resume of Anna Webster and a duplicate page of the amendments. The printer apologizes for this error. The News and Views has all the resumes of the candidates for your review. Please vote for up to 4 candidates and 2 amendments. Ballot logging will be posted at the office and the clubhouse. You'll be able to verify your ballot was placed in the ballot box by name, and we currently have 25 voided ballot envelopes. If you're not on the list, and we are current on logging as of today, then you may request a replacement ballot. If you did not get a ballot, you may request a replacement ballot. I have February 25th, but we're close enough. We can start issuing those tomorrow if needed. Vacant lot at 14196 Brookridge Boulevard, Unit 6. UBL 629308 was deeded back to BCPO and is now listed for sale on the Brookridge website for $2,990. SOP keeps it up there for 12 months. If it goes on sale, then we put it out for sealed bid. We'll also bring the ballots and get on video, so do the show and tell. Excuse me. These are ballot envelopes that were dropped in the box at the office. These are voids. If they don't come accompanied with the outer envelope recognizing you as the owner, then we cannot process this ballot envelope. So now we're up to 25 of these. People have voted that are not being counted. Our computer program now has 698 homeowners listed in alphabetical order that you can check and make sure your ballot is registered and in the ballot box. So I'll put this out in the back and we'll post it on the bulletin board at the office and up here in the clubhouse. So if you have a feeling, there was also one envelope that has no return on it, but it was initialed on the back. So maybe somebody will recognize the initials and be able to cast a valid ballot. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Ray. You know, it's really important that your ballot that your vote counts. Last year, I think we had like over 70 ballots that didn't get counted. That's really sad to think 70 people voted for something and they weren't allowed to, their vote just didn't count. That's the only time your vote doesn't count. Okay, next we have the monthly violation report. Oh, yes. That's just attached. That's there for everyone to see. And as you can see, we had 155 notices of violation. And you'll see that many of them are closed. You didn't get that? Well, it'll be online. Is it online?
Yes.
Yes, it'll be online, okay? And it should also be in the news and views. Do we still put them in the news and views? Okay, it'll be in the news and views. Okay, there was 155 violations opened, complaints opened. Most of them are closed. And that's because people got the letters, they did what they were supposed to do, they called the office, which it says right on the letter, and more than 2/3 of the people came into compliance as soon as they got the letter. Sometimes it's just a parking thing. And if you talk to security or code enforcement before the date that it's, within those couple of days, it has the date, all he wants to make sure is that you're not going to do it again. I've seen him many times out there in the front office. People come in, they say, I didn't realize I was parking on the lawn. And he says, you're going to do it again? If they say no, he closes that out. So all we ask is that you come to the office when you get that. We had 62 parking violations. Only 10 of them were fined because they didn't bother coming to the office. 52 of them were forgiven because they came and we just want to make sure that you don't do it again. So just saying, people. Information. Okay, next we have the security crime report. Captain Schubert?
You're making me actually look like a good guy here. Okay, we had a battery on Country Club. We had 2 organized frauds in here. They were both unrelated. One was on Denmarsh and one was on Diablo. We had another battery that took place on Edge Knoll, and we had a domestic dispute on Montrose. Again, those are just reports of crimes. That doesn't mean anybody was arrested or convicted or anything like that. That's just the actual report of an incident.
Exactly. Now, I just want to make a statement here. I had a concerned citizen who emailed me. Anybody who's ever emailed me, I answer you. It might take a couple of days because I don't do this full time. But this person was very upset that Captain Schubert gave us a blank security report. Okay? We're not hiding anything, we're not lying, and I was very offended by this person's remarks to us. And when I spoke with Captain Schubert, what this is that these packets are made up by a recording secretary, who happens to be Ray Giroux right now. He's playing 2 roles. And when these are made up, they're made up 10, 11, 12 days before this meeting. It's the same as the treasurer's report. You don't get the treasurer's report until the actual meeting because everything has to be up to date. So people, when we say there's a blank security report, we're not hiding anything, we're not lying, and I'm very offended by that. But he just brings in the information that's most up to date. So I just wanted to, it's very disturbing when people say things like that. Thank you, Greg. Treasurer's report. Rosemary.
Before I read the report, I just have one. I need a clarification from Ray. Under the reserve expenses, says towers. What kind of, would you explain what the towers are?
I don't know, let me go look into that.
You don't know?
I don't know, for $1,100, if it said, you know, 10,000, I would have said the server.
Is
The
it,
server.
it sounds like it's
But
a
I
server.
don't think it is
But-
at $1,100.
Okay,
I can go log in, I'll find out, you talk.
all right, thank you, Ray. Okay, the treasury report as of January 31st, at the moment, at this end of January, our operating expense balance is $502,006.06. Accounts receivable assessments, $54,657.22. The printing is small, excuse me. At the moment, as of January 31st, we had 49 for the month, $49,462 in AVRC fines owed. Liens on file at the present time are 39, with an ongoing balance of $82,378.25. Our combined assessment income-based report plus other income, $135,045.57. Operating expenses for the month, $32,225.42. Administration, $24,932.98. Facilities, $19,663.03. Public Works, and $31,494.45. For a total expense for the month, $108,315.88. In our reserve account right now, we have $1,633,149.62. And as I pointed out, there was $1,171.50 that was paid out of reserve expenses. Our social club bank accounts, $32,913.56. Paid out 104 under donated funds. Paid out 104.17 for the beautification committee, for the beautification of our community. A table saw purchased for the clubhouse, $392.99. Expenses for the expo that we had in January, $358.99. And sales tax, refreshments, and kitchen supplies, $1,450.92 for a total of $2,307.07.
Thank you, Rosemary. And you'll find out what that.
Yeah, I can't log into the computer.
Okay, don't worry about it. Okay, we have no unfinished business. And under new business, I have a Thursday small Bible group for a new club. I just want to know, is Mr. McAdee here? Okay. Did you sign a form? You're not gonna speak tonight?
Pardon? No.
Yes.
I
Ted.
want some questions asked. I don't know. Answer that one.
Okay.
Special.
Okay. We'll go on. Okay. There is a new club that wants to be formed. Thursday small Bible group. Analysis. There are no room conflicts, and there would be 8 weekly meetings on Thursdays, 6 to 8 p.m. The recommendation is to approve the new club, the Thursday small Bible group for Brookridge residents and invitees, and allow the usage of Clubhouse for meetings following the normal standard operating procedures for room reservations, which has already been done by our activities director. So I would make the motion to approve the new club, which is the Thursday small Bible group, not the pitch club, for the Brookridge residents and invitees, and allow the use of the clubhouse for meetings following normal SOPs for room reservations.
I'll second it.
Second by Ken. In our original packet, there was only, there are 4 offices. When you want to have a new club, you have to have the club name, and you have to have the chairperson, co-chair, secretary, and treasurer, if there's any money changed. Mr. McAdee had only put one name down as the chairperson, and I asked Patrona to speak with him, so we have an amended club request. We have chairperson is Paul McAdee, the co-chairperson would be Pauline McAdee, and the secretary is Julie Trudeau. And there's no treasurer, there's no money to be collected. Now, per our rules, all of the officers have to be Brookridge members. That is one of our rules that we have to have. We've checked them all out, and they are all Brookridge members. So I would ask if the board would like to state anything, or if you're ready to vote. Okay, go for it.
On the original paperwork, sir, it says, do you plan to arrive earlier to set up? And your hours are 6 to 8, and you put down 7. So you're going to set up midway through the... I know it's just something on paper, but you said you're going to come in earlier to do it, and you're going to come in the middle of your class to set up. I mean, I just brought that to your attention, that's all.
Yeah, we're gonna do that.
Okay, good. Any other comments? Okay. All those in favor? Opposed? It's a vote. There you go. The next is permission for vendor sales. Mr. Ross.
Topic for this agenda item is permission for vendor sales. Analysis is, after the 2019 Welcome Back Festival, a number of residents inquired regarding the possibility of a food vendor being allowed access to Brookridge. Review has been completed of our governing documents, and they would allow this. Recommendation is to allow Little Smoky's Barbecue to set up on Fridays between 11 a.m. and 7 p.m. in the west parking lot of the clubhouse. They will in return pay 5% of their net weekly sales to Brookridge, then reviewed after 90 days to possibly being increased to 10%. Proposed motion is to approve Little Smoky Barbecue to access Brookridge as stated in the recommendation.
I'll second.
Second by Ken. You want to give us some background, Dean? He's not allowed to say that.
I love to mess with her. Little Smoky's was the caterer who came in at our Welcome Back Festival and served pulled pork along with the fixings for that dinner. They would be coming in, they would park, I've talked to Vince, on the west, actually not in the parking lot, but up this way on the sidewalk a little bit, so they're not taking parking spaces away from there. They would come in and from 11 o'clock till 7 p.m. would offer their full menu, meatloaf, ribs, pulled pork, baked chicken, plus the sides that go with those, or you could just come up and get one of their pulled pork sandwiches or just a section of ribs, whatever you want. It would be a benefit, we felt, to Brookridge, since Brookridge doesn't have any kind of a weekly dinner going or a restaurant that's kind of in-house like Timberwood, and some of the other places do in their clubhouses. I don't go there, I don't know the names of all those places. I live in Brookridge. But it would be a benefit to Brookridge since we don't have those amenities available on site, and allow people to be able to come up at the clubhouse, pick up a full dinner in their golf cart, or drive up here in their, no, don't drive up in your jammies, I was going to say that, don't do that. But you can come up, get a dinner, take it back home, or come up and get a lunch and take it back home too. They would be here and put things together from there.
One of the questions that comes up to me, and we had discussed this, so I want you to respond to that, is Friday night is bingo, and we have many people here, and they serve a light meal, and it's a couple of dollars, it's not very much for them. My concern is if Little Smokies would interfere with them.
That's not what we're aiming at, that's not what he's aiming at. They've got a very inexpensive meal for the bingo people. That's not saying some bingo people might not go out and buy one of their sandwiches. I believe, well, don't hold me to this one, because Don, Don Solano is the owner of Little Smokies, but their pulled pork sandwich was like $7.95. So it'd be there. It would be for residents of Brookridge, and any of the bingo people come in. He does not, and he doesn't intend it, neither do we, to be a draw to bring people that do not live in Brookridge particularly in. This is for Brookridge residents. Now, if somebody hears about it and they're able to get past the gate, come in and buy food, that's neither here nor there, but that's not what it's aimed at. We're not trying to bring people that are not Brookridge residents in. We're trying to make something that's a benefit to the Brookridge residents themselves.
Thank you, and I'm glad that you were able to pursue something like this, because so many times people have said, why don't we start cooking dinners up here? Because most of the other places, and High Point does too, they have somebody who cooks a meal once a week, so they have that. That's the only thing that Brookridge doesn't have. Well, besides a variety store, but that's the only thing that Brookridge doesn't have, and we're trying to bring more to Brookridge so that we can be with our neighbors a little bit more. So thank you for bringing that up. Anybody? Ken?
Yeah, will this be on a contract, like trial period, 90 days, signed, sealed, delivered, after 90 days reevaluated, that kind of thing?
Yeah, well, our attorney will put together a contract with it.
So our attorney will work it.
Yeah, we're going to have a contract with him that will state 5%, and in 90 days we'll be able to review and see if we can take it up to 10% or some portion therein, so that we can increase the income that.
So our attorney is okay with this?
From them.
Our attorney is okay with this?
Yes.
And what about liability?
No more liability than we have for the Welcome Back Festival.
I mean, if they serve bad food, are they going to win?
He does have his own insurance, so that was covered also. I was going to say that, but it sounded like I'm slapping at you, and I'm not. We investigated that when we had a food vendor come in for the Welcome Back Festival, that they had their own insurance in that, and if something happened, that his insurance would cover that.
And that's why we have the attorney to look at everything. All right. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? It's unanimous vote. Thank you. Next, we have the violation appeal cases, and that would be Ken.
Let the record reflect the following paragraphs will be inserted into the appropriate AVRC case decisions when noted and herein after reference as paragraph A or paragraph B. Paragraph A, the fine and or suspension of privileges imposed will continue until compliance is met. It is the violator's responsibility to notify the code enforcement officer if compliance is met. Upon verification of compliance, any fines or suspension of privileges after the initial suspension is served will cease upon payment of outstanding fines and or administrative fees. Paragraph B, all action, punitive or otherwise, decided by the BCPO Board of Directors will go into effect immediately upon all reoccurrences of this violation, 12 months into the future. If a reoccurrence happens, fines and suspension of privileges will be imposed immediately until compliance is met, in accordance with BCPO Rules and Regulations, Article 12, Section 3, and Section 6. Case number 7541. 15804 Brookridge Boulevard, parking in the medium. I recommend a penalty of $25 per occurrence and suspension of 14 days privileges. Paragraph B applies.
Do I have a second? I'll second. Rosemary, seconded.
Good evening. My name is Nancy Raposo. I'm a family member of
Mr. Raposo, who is the homeowner at 175804 Brookridge. When those occurrences, Mr. Raposo signed for his home on December 26th in the state of Massachusetts. It was never down here. After he signed, I was the one that had his property. We did not have any paperwork stating we couldn't park in the median, okay? The only time we were parked in the median was somebody was coming to pick up stuff from the home, or that's the only time we were parked there because we were waiting for the trucks to come and get the stuff. Mr. Raposo only came down at the end of January, met with you people on February 7th, where he in turn received all the paperwork stating what your rules are in here, okay? And the violator of that was not Mr. Raposo, it was myself, okay? So I don't think Mr. Raposo should incur this violence because of me. I didn't know about it, neither did he until he got down here February 7th. So I think this time, I would appreciate if you would excuse this on him. I don't think he should be violated on this.
Mr. Raposo, do you have anything to say also?
You agree with me? Tell him.
Yeah, I agree with that. I also like to know if, I don't have grass at my property, it's gravel. So if my driveway is full, can I park on top of the gravel? Yes or no?
Nope.
Okay,
Let's
that's all I need to know.
yeah, okay, let's take this one at a time. The fines do not go to the person. Per our deed restrictions, fines go to the property, which is the property owner. There are, even if Mr. Raposo did not have that information, we have signs all along the boulevard. There are signs out that says do not park in the median. Any time of the day between 6 a.m. to 1 a.m. the next morning, you park on the street. It is legal to do so. I know Brookridge Boulevard is a little hairy sometimes, but people learn to go around. If we go the speed limit, we never have a problem. So those are the responses right now, but I want to hear what else you have to say.
Okay. I do see the signs on the way down now. Okay? But maybe the last sign coming down, I think is maybe 3/4 of a mile up the road. And where there's a stop sign, we have to stop. Where there's a sign, do not park in the median, we don't park. So in that spot, from 3/4 of a mile up and even further down, there is not another sign. So if you expect us not to park in the median, I think you should have a sign in every median. It's just like a stop sign. We have to stop, there's a stop sign in every place. So.
Ma'am, I have seen people park right underneath the sign.
But guess what? We didn't park under a sign. And not only that, February 2nd, my husband was parked there, not me. And they came behind him and took a picture. My husband tried to stop that officer to ask if he was doing wrong. And guess what? The person did not even stop to answer him. So, come on, he's just new here. He didn't have your violations. The first meeting he had with you people was February 7th. So I don't think you should take his privileges away. Now that he knows, now we can tell everybody, do not park there, do not do this, do not do that. We did follow your signs all the way down. Do not go over 30, that's what we were doing. Okay, but you do not have signs in every meeting. Okay, right then and there. You don't have a sign in every meeting, and you should. It's just like a stop sign. When you don't want nobody to park, there's a sign, no parking. If there's a handicap, no, parking is just the handicap. So it's the same thing.
That is a matter of opinion. We only need to have one sign that says do not park in the median. It does not say do not park in this median. Can someone please shut that off? Thank you. And the signs are not every single one. They're every so often to remind people, when you see a sign like that, it's not just for this one, it's for all of them. But that's just a response to your direct question. I would like the board, and if you would like Captain Schubert for anything also, so I'd like the board to.
Well, my experience and what we've done in the past, we don't everybody gets treated alike. You park in the medium, John Smith parks out in the medium next month or whatever. Every case has to be treated the same. So that's all I can tell you. And the property owner is, we can't suspend or,
But he didn't have the rules. I'm sorry, you're wrong. He didn't have the rules. If he had had the rules in his hand and had the meeting with you, yes, I can see you doing that to him. He's a new homeowner here in the association. It's not like he's an old homeowner that's been here. You're not giving him a chance either.
how long you been homeowner?
December 26th is when he signed this paper. He was in Massachusetts. It only got down here the last week in January.
And you never...
Okay,
His first meeting was February 7th with you people.
Okay. That is a reminder of the rules. In our deed restrictions, it is the seller's obligation to make the new homeowners, the homeowners aware of and I see people shaking their heads, but we do live in a deed restricted community. We have to follow the rules that are deemed. These deed restrictions are not something that were just made. They've been here for over 20 years. And the deed restrictions state quite clearly that the owner, the seller, has the responsibility, has the first responsibility to let the homeowners, the potential homeowners know, because there are some people that don't even know about them. They just come in. If you read your deed restrictions, this is not something that we're sitting here being, hard about. That is your deed restriction. Well, that was, but I'm just responding. I'm responding to your comment. He wasn't given it by us until then, but it is the obligation of the seller. And I'm going to tell you all right now that if you bought your home from a realtor, they all know the rules. They all know everything that's in there, and they avoid them because they want to make a sale. And some people, when they find out, they don't want to live here because they want to do whatever they want. It's a fact of life, and it can't be our responsibility. We don't have a 30 people homeowners association here. I'm just responding to your question or your comment.
I think you should just, I can see you saying, forgive him this time.
Where do I pay the bill?
I'm sorry, sir.
Where do I pay the bill?
Where do you pay the bill? Yeah, it would be the front.
And the previous owner, she's in a nursing home, so how are we gonna do this? I never saw it in my
Son
life.
wanted to sell the
That's
home.
okay, that's fine. I'll pay the bill.
Okay.
The son wanted to sell the home, that's why he never told him anything.
Please do not speak out of turn. Okay, this is a board meeting. We need to be respectful. Rosemary did. Is there any other discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? It's a unanimous vote. Thank you.
Case 7537, 9694 Scepter Avenue, vehicle parked on front lawn. Recommended penalty, $25 per occurrence and 14-day suspension. Paragraph B will apply.
Susan Markowitz had to leave unexpectedly. She was here but couldn't stay for the remainder of the meeting. So we'll respond to her in writing on your...
Okay, did she have any comments before she left?
She did not.
Okay. Ron, seconded that? She's not here. They did request a hearing, but they don't have any, they haven't given any terms of why. Okay. Okay, and this is another one, parking on the median. And oh, I'm sorry, I got the wrong one. On the front lawn. And again, all of us, we need to remember, just like I said, in the violations for the month, the open complaints for the month, we had 62 parking disturbances, okay, parking complaints. 52 of those people did what they were supposed to do. They came to the office, they called, and they spoke with Captain Schubert. 10 people did not bother to do that. So it's clear that people are reading their violations now that we've been asking them to right along. And this is one person that didn't. Okay. Could I have a vote? All those in favor? Opposed? It's unanimous vote. Thank you.
I got 2 cases for the same address. Case 7550, 9263 Salvani Drive, vehicle and street, Florida tag BRDN66. Per night patrol, it was 1:07 a.m. Recommended penalty, $25 per occurrence, 14-day suspension of privileges. Paragraph B will apply. And case number 7549, 9263 Salvani Drive, vehicle and street, Florida tag IMEQ76. Per night patrol, 3:24 a.m. Recommended penalty for this case also is $25 per occurrence and 14-day suspension of privileges. Paragraph B will apply.
Do I have a second? Second by Linda. Okay.
Ralph Slocum is at the podium. His mother, Cecilia, I don't believe is here. Yeah, I got it.
But he's got, okay.
Yeah, he just came in. Use the mic.
You have to use the mic because we're on TV. If you push it up.
Tap it. Tap it.
Tap it. Tap it.
There you go. Speak
No, that
right
was
into
me.
it.
No.
Speak right into it. This is
No, everybody's gonna help me.
Yes, yeah, I'm Ralph Slocum, and I know about this. My mother, Celia Ponton, came out with stage 4 cancer. It's mesothelioma. There's no cure. We took her to the hospital twice in the last 3 weeks, and then the second time we took her to the hospital,
I'm a little hard here.
Yeah.
Just,
sorry.
just like that.
So we went to the hospital the second time, and they says, take her home. There's no more chemo. It's mastitis to her body, metastasized to her body, and just take her home to die. And so we were very upset and crying, and like it's it. So we brought Mom home, and she's home dying now. And we brought in hospice. They come in 3 times a week now, and a nurse comes in once a week, and a nurse's aide comes in 3 times a week, and it's over. She's died. We were very upset. We were out of our minds with it's just overwhelming. It's my mom, and so yeah, we screwed up that night, but we asked that maybe you guys can look at the human factor here. That we were really upset, and the last thing we were worried about is where we parked our cars. And I know we should have, but it's all a little too much for us to handle. And so, you know, she'll be dead like in a week or 3 weeks. I don't know. They say you can't tell you. It's just a matter of whenever God decides to take her.
Okay. Ralph, if I could.
I won't do it again.
Okay. No, you won't, because you don't want to do this again. On the 20th, February 20th, oh no, that's the hearing date. When is it? February 6th. February 6th, was that the day that your mom was in the hospital? And
I'm not 100% clear on the exact dates of everything, but I'm pretty sure that was the time when it happened, because I just paid $175 last month for building materials around my house. They told me I could put the ladders on my shed. Security said that, and then, oh, no, you can't do that. It doesn't matter if he told you that or not. The bylaws say you can't. So I built ladder racks, and I've straightened everything up, and I got everything. I built a door underneath my trailer. I put all my building materials underneath there. I've got ladder racks.
Yep, those are not apparent. You're in compliance with that.
Right, and I paid all those fines.
Now there was two vehicles. Whose vehicles were they?
My mother's and my fiance's.
Your mother's and your fiance's?
Yes, ma'am.
Why weren't they parked, either one of them parked in the driveway?
Well,
I'm just curious.
oh, okay, well, the one vehicle is a truck that's used for cutting trees and
Mhm.
fixing stuff around here for people.
Okay, and that's undercover.
And then the other one is my fiance's car she brought from New York. And and I'm legally blind, so I'm not allowed to drive them.
Okay.
I could pull up the driveway or something, that's about it.
So one thing I have a concern about
Yes, sir.
is starting with April 8th, 2013, going all the way to February 2nd, 2019, we had 23 parking violations. And there's parking in the street overnight, parking in the front yard, parking in the front yard, parking on the side yard. It's just been continuous.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of construction around my house, repairing it. I've just put on a brand new roof. I'm doing a garden for my neighbor.
But that doesn't have anything to do with what we're talking about now. You have,
I'm a habitual
you
parker.
have 20 plus, in the last year, it's been parking overnight twice, 2 different occasions. Parking on the front lawn, 2 different occasions. Parking in the street overnight again, another violation. Parking in the front yard, another violation. So I understand what you're saying, and you're asking us for a reason because there was an emergency. But when you look at it on paper, there's a definite pattern, and you know better.
Yes, I'd like to break that down.
You know better.
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Does anybody else have anything to say yet? Well, the only thing that I would, and this is something I've always done, if you can prove that you were at the hospital that evening, okay, that's an exception that we would do. I'm looking at the pattern.
Yes.
We're all looking at the pattern. So the board has 2 options. The board can do the violation and commit to the violation, or we could let you, we could put it on hold until you have a chance to cover the office and speak with myself and Captain Schubert, and we can, and if it is valid, I would be willing to close this.
Yes, ma'am.
But we need the validity.
Okay. May I ask if there's a second, under the circumstances that I'm so upset with what's going on and kind of like not being totally rational, I'd be more than willing to pay the fines. I just don't want to have to punish the rest of the family for what I did. And I don't mind paying the fines. I don't want the 14-day suspensions of privileges.
The 14-day suspension is for the barcodes.
Yes,
Anybody with the barcode has to, and you have to go in.
To pay the fine, if I could get away.
It's total. There was years ago when we did that, and nobody paid attention to them. Nobody cares about the fines. People care about that barcode.
Yeah.
And that's why, and we want to keep Brookridge, you have these fines and the loss of privileges because Brookridge, it's not a fancy place, but it's not a trailer park. And when we look around, you go down Mariner and you see cars all over. And there are some exceptions, but unless you went to the hospital that day, if you can prove to us that you went to the hospital that day, we will hold it for 5 days and we can bring the proof to Captain Schubert. If you cannot, because this is not the first, second, or third time you're well aware of it, we're going to, the board will decide whether to close this or to give you the fine. The suspension comes with the fine.
Right. Well, I'll look at the dates and I'll find out exactly what date that was. As far as Brookridge goes, yeah, this is the best community. My grandmother found this place 35 years ago and brought us out here. And there is no better place for the money.
Yeah.
Anywhere around.
And we like to keep it that way also. We will give you, oh, Captain Schubert?
Question, there's 2 different vehicles parked 2 different nights. What are we gonna do about that second case?
I'm sorry.
So if he was at the hospital one night, what are we gonna do about the second night?
Well, I guess
Different vehicle.
the whole thing
I'm
is,
looking at, both complaint dates are 2/6.
Different,
Yes?
no, one is on 2/2, one is on 2/6,
Oh,
different
one's on
vehicles.
2/2 and one's on, okay, so what have we got? What have we got here now?
well, I guess what it is when I came home with my mother, I was so upset about the prognosis that she's going home to die and that's it. I may very well been unreasonably thinking for at least, probably until she dies.
Okay. Ralph?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Ralph, let's bring it back to what this is. I can give you 5 days, business days, to get proof that you went to the hospital
Yes.
with your mother on both of those nights, and then we will discuss it. You, myself, and Captain Schubert.
Yes,
Other
ma'am.
than that, we can't allow it. It's not even your first time doing it. It's not even your third time doing it. And the suspension has been there, and you had to pay the fines before, or your mother did. So we want to be fair about this, but you got to be fair to us too. You got to, because you have to be fair to all of the people that respect the rules.
Yes, ma'am. It's just this rather strong mitigating circumstances. If it was your mother, you might be rather upset.
I understand that, okay? And the community that we live in, it is very common, okay? So I want to wrap this up.
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
going to ask you one question. Can you provide proof on those 2 different days that you were at the hospital with your mother?
I can prove that one of those days I can prove.
One of those days you can prove? Do you know which day it was?
No, I have to check.
Okay.
I'm
We will, all right, if the board is willing, we will give this man the chance to come up with evidence. And then we can bring it back at the next one.
Thank you.
But when I need, oh, we're done. But I need, it's now the board's decision, what they want to do.
Well, I just have a concern. Most driveways, I'd say 99% of the driveways, excuse me, in Brookridge, hold 2 to 3 cars. And I just don't understand why even coming home from the hospital and stuff would leave one out in the road and not have it in the driveway. It's just my concern. We've all had people that have, we've been at the hospital for whatever reasons, but, so that's just my concern. The driveways hold 2 to 3 cars.
Yes, ma'am. Ours holds 2.
Well, my concern is that the reason there's no parking during those hours is for emergency purposes. That's a big safety feature. Fire department or ambulance has got to come down the street and they got to deal with parked cars. It's not a very good idea, and that's why it's in our rules. It's for the safety of the residents that live here.
Yes, sir.
And it might be even a county rule, because back, I talked with a friend of mine not too long ago, but he was one of the committee people that put the deed restrictions and rules together. They went through the Florida statutes, they went through the county, made sure that everything was in compliance. And if you ever look at our Florida statutes and county rules, and you're going to find our rules bump up against those rules. And that's why they're there. So it's I have a really big safety concern over something like that.
Understood, sir. I'll do that.
Yes, and I was questioning you because I was hoping that you would have said the ambulance came, and that's why you weren't in the driveway. I mean, I was giving you every opportunity, but we're just gonna continue. I think that you can sit down. I think we're just gonna comment amongst ourselves.
Yes, ma'am. If you want an ambulance, we can get you there quicker.
Actually, in all reality, you're better off with an ambulance because it's drive-through. You go to wheeling somebody in the emergency room, you gotta sit there and wait.
That's okay. We have two options. We can either vote up or down, or we can put it on hold to let the resident come and show us proof.
I have one question for you. You have two vehicles, a truck and a car, correct?
Yes, sir.
And the vehicles were in the road at 3 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning because you had taken your mother to the hospital. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
What vehicle do you take her to the hospital in?
Took her in the car.
Captain Schubert, can you tell me, of those two incidences with two different tags, can you tell me if one of those was the car on a given night?
No, not with any certainty, no. I would have to actually go out and look at the license plates on the vehicles.
I would presume then with two different tag numbers on there and having just two vehicles, that one of those nights, that it was actually the car sitting in there and the truck was gone. And you said you took her to the hospital in the car, so I'm gonna.
Pretty sure, sir.
Thank you.
Rosemary?
My concern is the pattern. That is my concern when I look at the list, the pattern.
I'm absolutely guilty of that. I'm going through with my mother, I want to chase my whole life.
Okay. We have a motion on the floor for, what was the motion?
We have the motion.
$25 per occurrence, 14-day suspension. You know, I'm really concerned because you said you don't mind paying the fine, but you don't want to have to. You don't want to have to go to get visitors. I'm sorry. I just have a real problem with that. I'm having trouble getting that through my head. That you are willing to pay the fine, but you don't want to go through that visitors. You've done this 23 times, and the violations have been 23 times in the last couple of years. They are, you know, you say you're not going to do it again, but, you know, you've done it, this is the 24th time now, in just a few years. And I know that, you know, everybody's sitting out there saying, oh, this poor man took his, mother to the hospital. He doesn't remember which night it was. He doesn't remember which vehicle it was. He doesn't know if he has the information.
Well, I'm legally blind and I don't have...
See, now we have, yeah. Well, we're not gonna, the thing is, wait a minute, people. Okay, we're gonna put a stop to this conversation, okay? Everybody that lives in Brookridge, and this is for everybody, there is no excuse for you not to follow the rules unless there is an absolute emergency. And anybody who has had an absolute emergency, we have forgiven their fines. They just have to prove it to us. Do you realize how many times that the man that sat there a couple of weeks ago, and it was a public thing, he's disabled, and he needs a caretaker, and he had this and that. Well, you know, we asked him, we gave him 2 weeks to get us the information on that caretaker. She is not a caretaker. She was a girlfriend, and they kept having fights. This is what we go through. So, you know, you people are sitting there, and you're saying, wow, we're really mean because this poor man has PTSD, and he's disabled, and he needs somebody. But that's the stuff that you don't see all the time. And I just have a real problem with this whole thing.
Ma'am.
Okay.
Maybe
yeah.
we should just call the vote.
Yes. I'd like to, let's call the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It's unanimous vote. That means that you're going to do the fines and you're going to have the suspension of privileges, 14 days. No, this is the 24th and 25th time you've done this. Next. Okay, can we have the report of directors? This would be committee and committee reports and projects only.
Yeah, I want to remind my AVRC folks, our meeting is tomorrow, and you'll be hearing the cases from today. So be there at 8:30. Have your minds sharpened, and we'll have some fun. Thanks.
That's right.
The BCCGA, the Brookridge Country Club and Golf Association, had their meeting Monday evening and went over some things. That was their monthly meeting. They will be having a special meeting here on February 27th in the main hall at 6 p.m. Special meeting regarding replacing of the greens. Voting members of the BCCGA will be the only ones to be able to be into that. Presentation is going to be made to them on the replacement of the greens, and they get to vote on how they want to do that. That'll upgrade the golf course even more.
Nice. Rosemary, do you have any committee reports? No? Linda?
I just want to remind everybody, if you haven't noticed, that we're having our Derby and Dance Party March the 16th. It's going to be a lot of fun. I have tickets to sell. We're going to have a share the wealth. We're going to have games. We're going to have dancing. It's going to be a simulcast horse races. I encourage anybody who's interested in sponsoring a horse that your name will go in the program, as well as you can name your horse. You can do it as an individual. The cost is $100 to sponsor a horse. You can do it as a group. I'm gonna get our board of directors here to sponsor a horse. We've already got a commitment from the clubhouse monitors to sponsor a horse. We've got some individuals already agreeing to sponsor a horse. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I encourage everybody to see us. We're going to start selling the tickets in the clubhouse, well, starting tonight, and then Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. The tickets are $10 donation if you buy your ticket ahead of time. If you buy it the day of the races, it's $15. We need to sell the tickets ahead of time so that they have an idea of how many betting booths that they need to bring, and so it's just going to be a lot of fun. We'll also have food available at that time. So if maybe any of you and your neighbors, if you have a foursome that you golf with all the time, if they'd like to sponsor a horse, we're going to also be reaching out to the community around us, a lot of them that we do business with, to sponsor a horse. So just let me know. Jackie McCabe, you can get with Jackie McCabe, Eileen Smith, Gary Thomas, Ron. We'll all have tickets, but we will be selling tickets here at the clubhouse. But I'll be selling tickets tonight. We'll have food. Yeah, and it's going to be a lot of fun. They really pump it up. It'll be on the big TV screen up here.
If anything, they could just come for the meal.
Yeah, come for the meal. Come for the laughs. Oh yeah, they have a DJ that plays music between the races, and people can get up and dance. So it's just going to be a lot of fun. They tell us that a lot of people want to start making it an annual event, And so we're kind of hoping that that's the way this will work out too. So buy your tickets.
I just want to make a clarification. When she said that she was going to ask the board, it'll be our private donations. We're going into our own pockets. It's not coming out of the budget.
Absolutely.
I want to make sure I clarify that.
Yeah.
What's the money's for?
No.
Oh, hold on. No, sir, in a few minutes. Okay? Okay. All right. That's it?
That was a question, what was the money for?
Yeah, the what's the
The donations are going for the beautification of Brookridge, or the Brookridge betterment of Brookridge. It isn't going to the beautification committee. It's for the betterment of Brookridge. So if we need a little of it to finish off with the sign's going amazing. We're starting to get our bids for the front sign, and but if we need it for the landscaping or for the painting of the buildings, or we still want to also have a sign out by the administration building. We still want to have a sign acknowledging the clubhouse. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So I encourage everybody to come and join us for the fun.
Thank you. Okay, so we're all done with our committee reports? Okay. Then the next part is the comments, and the board goes first. Rosemary, would you like to start?
I'd just like to make a clarification. In the middle section of your news and views under the calendar, it said that on the February 26th and 28th, the social dance is selling tickets. That is incorrect. The social dance isn't. This is the melting pot for their St. Patrick's Day dance on February 17th. So it'll be for the March 7th. Where am I? I'm beyond. Anyway, so when you look at it, you say they're having a dance March 17th, and we used to have a corned beef dinner, but the way things have been going, nobody wanted to volunteer to cook corned beef. So it's just going to be hors d'oeuvres at the tables and a dessert table. So, and it's February 17th, St. Patrick's Day. March, why did I keep saying 17th of February? I don't know.
February 17th is gone.
I know. Yeah, I am, believe it or not. Anyway, so that was the correction I wanted to let people know for that. And Melting Pot would like to have people come. We're going to have a disc jockey. The tickets are $5, a $5 donation. So we hope to have fun and celebrate St. Patrick's Day.
Thank you. Ron?
Two quick things, and I know I'm going to mess up his last name. So is Jim Mulos? Is Jim here? At the February 5th workshop, one of the member comments that was brought up by Jim Mulos, U-L-O-Z-A, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. But Jim had concerns in regards to the noise that was inside the clubhouse during concerts, and wondered if OSHA had any regulations on that, or what the deal was, or what the contracts were. We informed Jim that we don't have the contracts. We don't deal contracts with those music groups. Those contracts are done by the organizations that put those on, Brookridge Entertainment and I can't think of the other one, All-Star Entertainment. They have contracts with the talent agents. Talent agents have the contracts with the individuals. I know that the Thursday night group comes in and does sound checks. Haven't been up here to see the Monday night group, so I can't testify to that. In checking with OSHA, OSHA does not have noise requirements on concerts. They deal with noise restrictions in the workplace. So from there, some of the other information I got for you on that is, for example, A rock band concert is 110 dBA. We don't have rock concerts, but that's as close as I can get you to that. If you've been to a sporting event, though, that's 105. It's just a little bit under a rock concert. So they're there. If the noise gets too loud for you, if you're here, you can probably ask somebody, can it be turned down? Sometimes they will look at those if they need to and try and accommodate the audience a little bit. Sometimes they just can't do that. So wanted to get Jim and the people back the information on that. The other thing that I was asked to check into, brought to my attention, was our parking lot, the west parking lot, with the handicap slots not being in compliance with ADA regulations. ADA regulations were changed in 2010. Any parking lot that was in existence before that did not have to comply with new regulations. Ours was prior to that. However, any parking lot that restripes anytime after that has to come into compliance. Our parking lot will be restriped late this year, July, August, September, when it gets, the cracks get patched and get seal coated and restriped. And at that point, any violations with the ADA and the handicap spots will come into compliance. To give you a quick information on that, in that west parking lot, that's the one out this side, there are 123 parking slots out there. 23 of those are handicap slots, designated as such. The ADA actually requires, with that amount of parking space, actually requires us to have, you ready? 6. One of those has to be a van accessible. Okay, so we've got more than the number of parking slots, handicap that we need. However, some of those will change. The biggest change will be in between the automobiles. Automobile spaces have to be 8 foot wide for an automobile with a 5 foot buffer space in between parking spaces, but 2 car spaces can share one. So when we do restripe and those get done, we are going to lose in that west parking lot a couple of our handicap spaces just because of the way it's going to line out. Some new signs will go up indicating one of the van handicap accessible places, so we will have that for the van. In the south parking lot, which is straight out the door out there, there's 57 parking spaces. 3 of those are handicap accessible. They're down towards the left end. They have to be because that parking lot also gets them up to the pool, so that those spaces have to be down towards the pool. Out here at the east end of the building, there are 4 parking spaces. All of those are handicap accessible, and all 4 of those are extremely close right now to being ADA compliant. There'll be some restriping on that a little bit, but so as far as the spaces and that, under the current law, we're completely in compliance. We'll continue to be in compliance when those get restriped. So wanted to get that information out to the person that brought that information to my attention. And if you hear any rumors about it, tell them come see me.
I only have one really quick thing because I want to move this along. The trash bins. I got a hold of Mr. Terrence Dodson finally today after 2 weeks of trying to find his number. He is going to meet with me in about a week and a half. You're going to see an email for those of you that get the email. We have 2,800 properties. We only have less than 900 emails, so tell your friends and neighbors to get their emails in. I'm going to send out an email and ask if anybody has any problems still with the trash bins, collections or whatever. You can respond to me. I respond to every single one of those. I might not respond for a couple of days because I am retired and I don't do this full time, but I do get back to everybody. So if anybody has concerns, one thing I'm going to talk about is the routes, because even on Mariah, they go up and down that street 4 times, and sometimes our trash doesn't get picked up either. So I think they just don't know the routes. So that is one thing that we're going to be talking about. But if you don't have buckets, or if it hasn't been picked up, those are the types of things that I'm going to be looking for, so we can address it at that time. Okay. Linda? No.
And I put the flyer back on the back table for John Alaco's information, the county commissioner. And the Republic website is now accepting missed pickups via website. And that's also on Brookridge.com, right there at the top, number 2, missed pickups. And in answer to the treasurer's report, the towers, as it was noted, was a drainage problem on, I want to say, 13th Fairway. We were having erosion on the drainage ponds that we have maintained up there that were causing washouts. So he had concrete towers poured off of, I want to say, the 13th, before the 13th green on the right fairway.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank you for that information. Now, member comments. Sir, you want to give your name, state your name, and your unit number.
Sid Rideout, 8250 Country Club
Sid, I'm
Drive.
sorry, Sid who?
Sid Rideout.
Oh, okay.
Well, I can understand up in front of this clubhouse, I can understand the crosswalks up here because that's state law. What I cannot understand is the camera coming out of the parking lot. And I'd like to know how many cars have been caught going through that stop sign, because I sat up there several days now. 3 Sundays ago, I watched 8 cars run that stop sign. Has any of them ever been caught? Can you tell me where they have or not?
I'm going to let Captain Schubert answer that.
Yes, I can tell you that any car or golf cart that I catch gets a violation. I do not have the exact number off the top of my head, but I can tell you that yes, cars have gotten stop sign violations up here at the clubhouse.
Okay, because 3 Sundays ago, I sat up there and I watched 8 cars running.
Okay, I don't know. I wasn't here that Sunday. I'm not disagreeing with you, but yes, we do. I am up here all the time, and anybody that is caught or I catch either on camera or in person does get a violation.
Okay, that's all I want to know. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Sid. Anybody else would like to come up?
Hello, my name is Sue Levinsella, and I want to speak to the board. I think it's Unit 3. 4.
She's on Rialto.
I'm on Rialto, right? Okay, I want to speak to the board and the community members regarding sending out letters to residents threatening to put a fine or a lien on their home until a supposedly out of compliance fix date. No resident should receive a letter on the weekend when the office is closed and no one can be contacted until Monday or later. They need to be mailed out on a Friday or Saturday only. It is very upsetting to receive a letter because there is no recourse until the following week when the office is open. As an example, Gail Metcalf was checking conditions of a neighbor's property and mentioned to me at the time about my fence. I told her I had it approved, and she said she did not have time to discuss it at this time, but would get back to me. On 2/9/2019, I received an above-mentioned letter from Gail Metcalf on a Saturday stating that the property behind me was in compliance, stating the property was in compliance on October 11th, 2011, and I was supposed to remove my fence. I contacted Ray Stark, president at the time, in person, as he signed the letter I received October 11th, 2011. I disagreed with their decision, and upon further discussion of the property behind me, the board sent me an approval letter on October 24th, 2011, approving my fence as presently exists. I left a message regarding the letter from Gail Metcalf on 2/9 with Captain Schubert and Ken Sajak on that Saturday, as there was no way to contact Gail Metcalf, even though her letter said clearly that if I had any questions to contact her. My message to Captain Schubert and Ken Sajak was very clear, urgent matter, and my message to Captain included that I had a letter approving my fence on 10/24/2011. and need to discuss with someone. No response to date from neither one of them has returned my call. Sunday, Gail Metcalf was at the pancake breakfast, and we discussed the threatening letter she sent me and told her again, I have a letter okay in my fence. She said many times, no, you do not. No, you do not have any letter. I pulled up a copy of the letter on my phone, and she read it. She wanted me to bring it in, and I told her I'd have my lawyer send her a copy. My husband passed away 6 months ago, and if he was alive and I was not, he would not have found the letter of October 24th, 2011, and Gail Metcalf would have made him remove the section of our fence, even though my husband would have known it was approved in 2011. On February 10, 2019, Gail left me a message I was still in non-compliance until I dropped off my letter from 2011 from former President Ray Starr, even though she read his letter on my phone photos. On February 13, 2019, Gail Metcalf left me a message they had found the letter in the file and would be sending out letters that the fence is approved. No such letter has arrived to date, and this is 2/20/2019.
In response to that,
I would.
okay, but
Again, she has even initiated an attorney's clause right there. I would refer this to your attorney, please.
Where's my letter?
one thing, I sent that letter out the other day. No, I sent the letter out the other day. Any other comments?
I'm Patrona Tarman, Unit 3. Madam President, may I turn around and face the audience because what I'd like to say is information for them that I just received. Talking about the trash Gail spoke about earlier, I received a notice and I talked with Republic today. If you have a handicap plate on your car or a placard that goes in your car, and moving that big can, they call it the Big Blue Monster. If that's a hardship on you, you can call Republic, but you have to have that number off of your placard so that they know it's registered with the DMV. And they will get for you door service. You will not have to take that big Blue Monster down to the road. So it's going to be in the news and views when it comes out next week. The phone number and everything will be in that little article. So if that will help anyone out with their trash, when I received the message, I verified it, and then we're going to get it out for you.
Thank you, Patrona. Is that in Brookridge.com? That's the first time we've heard about it? Okay.
Yeah. I just received it yesterday
Oh, good.
and verified it this morning, so I will get a copy of it down to Ray so it can go on there.
Okay, thank you. Good information. Thanks, Patrona. Anybody else?
Push the button up.
I turned it off.
Push.
There.
There you go. Okay.
Linda Byrne, I don't know, we're in the back on Brookridge.
Brookridge Boulevard?
Yeah, I don't know. When we got the ballot in the mail for what to vote for,
Yes.
I got duplicate pages. The fifth person isn't in my ballot with any information on her. The other, is it Margaret?
Yes, that was one of the first things that Mr. Giroux explained to us. There was a mess up with the printing company. They printed 2 pages of the same and left off Mrs. Webster's resume. And
Let me just go back to the management report. The annual package was mailed without the resume of Anna Webster and a duplicate page of the amendments. The printer apologized for the error. The News and Views has all the resumes of the candidates for your review. Please vote for up to 4 candidates and 2 amendments.
Okay, I don't have it. News and Views.
You don't get it.
You don't get the News and Views? I work while the office is open. So I just wanted to know about that because I don't know how many other people might not have it.
Exactly, and that's why we've talked about it so many times. You can get a News and Views in the library. Yeah, and they're up here. Yeah, a lot of, yeah.
I have one other question about the pool passes and such. If you're a resident here and you live here, you've done the background check, you're approved to live here, are you supposed to have to pay for the?
No.
Because my dad just went up to get it and he was charged $10 for it today.
Is he a renter?
Excuse me?
Is he a renter?
No, he lives with me. He
Oh,
just
he lives
lived in. He did his
Is he on the
background
title?
check. Yep, he's not on the title.
There you go.
Oh, that's, okay. If they're not on the title, you just pay that. And that's got nothing to do with that. That is...
I know, I just happened to see that because he said it cost him $10 and it says here if you're a blood relative and you live there, it doesn't say you're on the title.
I know it. And that amendment on the user fees it has just gone crazy. Today I was asked at the exercise class when they were going to start charging 50 cents per person to use the pool. The pool is not going to be, the user fee amendment, okay? The reason why we have to have it is because the deed restrictions restricted only certain passes to be used for the pool. Renters, guests, and live-ins pay for that. The way that we do, we have assessments, okay? All of us that live here, we pay our $43 a month. It's $43 per lot, okay? Yeah, the half lot or whatever. This will, the people that pay will not be charged anything because we pay for those amenities. But guests that come in, people that don't come in, they're the ones that would be charged if we were going to do anything like that. The user fee thing is just at this time for the compound.
Oh, it's just for the compound, you're not
Just
going
for
to
the
charge like,
compound, not for anything else.
Pool and the
No.
clubhouse, you're going to get charged $100 a month or something
No,
like that?
it is just for the RV compound. Okay? So, all right, thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to speak, but I haven't signed up.
No, this is member comments. Member comments, you can,
Thank you. All right, on the,
you gotta use the mic.
all right, I'm sorry. Doug Roloff, Unit 4.
Okay. Push it up.
Doug Roloff, Unit 4.
There we go.
Now, on this vote that is being called for, on the first line, the added line, section 27, right of BCPO to charge fees for use of community pool and existing use of amenities. That's what's being added. That's what we're voting on. Now, as far as I'm concerned, it says community pool, existing use of amenities. Everything else on there is like it's always been, the second line. Down the bottom, B. The BCPO may charge a reasonable fee for exclusive use of any amenity, horseshoes, bocce, tennis, RV compound, or for example, and without limitation, the BCPO may charge a reasonable fee for use of space in the RV compound. Now, I know that somebody's going after the RV compound. I realize that, and I'm on the RV compound committee. But it states that we're voting on right for BCPO to charge a fee for community pool. So when you say there's not, it's right there in black and white. I'm not making it up. I'm not starting a rumor. That's where the state facts perfectly clear what it says. For any amenity in this community being use of this clubhouse, use of the swimming pool, horseshoes, bocce, any amenity that has always been part of this community for 40-some years, we're going to give 5 or 6 people the right to decide if they're going to charge for one of these amenities. Now, they'll tell you no, but it's in black and white. It's not a made-up statement or nothing. It's in black and white. Yeah.
All right.
Mr. Roloff?
And I'm
Yes,
going
sir.
to let Ron respond.
I just want to make it clear
Yeah,
because
I'm gonna ask you, I'm gonna presume you're looking at the thing that says at the top of that, it says item 2, is that correct?
Section 27, yes,
Right
sir.
above
Item
that, it
2.
says item 2.
Yes, sir.
We're talking about that?
Yes, sir.
If you go down there, okay, under A, then you've got 1A, and the A is being crossed out because that wouldn't be there any
Yes,
longer.
sir.
2B, and the B is being crossed out because the B wouldn't apply any longer, okay? I'm gonna read for you what it says under 2. Owners may obtain from the BCPO Administrative Office, free of charge, pool use cards for themselves and their family members related by blood, marriage, or adoption who are 12 years of age and older who are permanently occupying the owner's home with the owner and are properly registered at the BCPO office.